Yo, what's up guys? My name is Jordan Perez. I'm 21 years old and I made 6 figures in my first year of being a licensed barber. I wanted to do a Q&A video because I've been getting a lot of questions in my inbox and stuff like that. So I wanted to just go ahead and just do a video where I can answer all these questions and then I could share this video with you guys in case somebody else has the same question. So let's get into it. So first one is from Edward Cuts Hair. He said, how can I stop feeling lost on the business side of things and tracking my growth? So when it comes to tracking your growth, you need to identify what is growth and then identify how you're going to track it. You need to understand what are the things that dignify growth to you as a barber, which would be, for example, income, how much money you're making, how many clients you're cutting, how big is your clientele, how booked out are you? How many new clients are you getting a week? How high is your customer retention? You need to identify growth and then how you're gonna track. So whether it's gonna be a piece of paper or Excel sheet, and then you gotta find out what are those metrics. How can I stop feeling lost on the business side of things? That really comes to knowing what you're trying to do and establishing a plan on how to get there. I always like to think about it kind of like a GPS. For a GPS to work, you need a couple things. If you identify where you are, where you're trying to go, and then how you're going to get there, and you have all these things identified, it's hard to get lost because you know exactly what you're going to be doing and you know where you're going. So that's how I would stop feeling lost, is make a plan, know what you are trying to do, and then know where you are now so you can grow in that direction. Other things like this can help, for example, mentor, education, courses and stuff like that. That could also help you as well if you don't have a plan. If you just don't know, have somebody that could teach you. The next question is by Arabella Hair, one of those two. How to increase and sustain client retention? When I didn't have good client retention, I just wasn't good enough. I just had to get better. You may just have to get better. Your product or your experience may just need some work, and that is okay. You just have to find out in which area you're lacking so that you can work on that and you can fill the hole in the bucket. Because no matter how much marketing you do, if you have a hole in the bucket where you're losing a bunch of clients, you're going to continue to just lose more clients. What's the hole? Is the hole maybe your skill set? Maybe your clients just aren't really liking the haircuts? Is it the professionality? Is it the environment? Is it you? Are you unprofessional? Is it your customer service? Can you be a little bit, rude to clients and not even know it? I've had that problem with some of the barbers in my shop. They're rude to clients and they don't even notice it. So you increase your client retention by simply just getting better. You want to build an argument so strong in your client's head that it does not make sense for them to go anywhere else. If we have a killer culture, I'm gonna give you a killer haircut. You're gonna have a great time. You're gonna laugh. You're gonna smile. You're gonna blase. When you create an argument so good in your client's head to where it doesn't make sense for them to go anywhere else, more than likely they won't. Freddie 4D Fades. How to better detail? I find it hard because I don't know how to dictate which guard to use. Very simple. First of all, you have to make sure that you're cutting the hair correctly. You got to make sure that if these are my clipper teeth, that you're actually keeping the clipper teeth on the client's head. Sometimes I see barbers cutting like this and being confused on why they're not cutting hair. So you want to make sure that you're holding the clipper correctly. That's step one. Two is you start with a bigger guard and you slowly move down. Let's say you have a dark spot or you have a line in your fade or something like that, right? You start with a bigger guard, almost sometimes an obnoxiously bigger guard, just to be safe, and you just slowly work down until you start to feel that clipper's eating the hair. So you can listen to the clipper a little bit as well, because it'll tell you when it starts to cut. You'll start with a 3 guard, then you go down to a 2, a 1.5, a 1 open, a 1 closed, a half guard open, whatever. And you just start to slowly work down in your steps, and eventually that dark spot is going to come out. And that's how you find out which guard to use. And then with your experience, you're gonna kind of know, a dark spot in this area is more than likely gonna be with this guard. That comes with experience, but how I started was simply starting with a bigger guard and just moving down until that dark spot came out. Brandon Bunkley, what do you want for your birthday? For you to come into work. All right, bet. Now we have Barberhead Sosa. Thoughts on picking the right barber school? So, what is the best for you? For me personally, I knew that I needed reps because reps are like the best teacher ever, along with like continued education and stuff like that. I didn't want to spend 2 years getting my barber's license. I didn't want to learn a bunch of extra things that I was never going to use. And I didn't want to have to incur debt to get out of barber school. I wanted to be able to pay it off. I didn't want to have student loans. I didn't want any of that stuff, right? So I didn't want to go to some kind of, crazy expensive school and have to get into debt to pay that off. So that was what the right barber school was for me. You need to get cutting. You need to get licensed. You need to get into the shop. You need to get reps in. You need to improve on your skill. So you need to find a barber school that can do that for you. That's me in my opinion. Barberhead Toast again. I just moved to Houston. All my clients are gone. How I gain new ones? The same way you got the old ones, right? I mean, people in Houston are probably gonna want the same things that your clients back there wanted. I mean, if you have a good system that works, it's gonna work anywhere. It really depends on what kind of stage you're at, but what I would say that's very, very helpful is local Facebook groups, because you can target in a specific area. Most of them are free to join, and you could post and simply just introduce yourself to the area, tell people what you do, and that is a good way to get clients. I built my clientele in the garage off of that, because if you were in a shop, you have walk-in traffic, you have Google, you have different things, but across the board, no matter if you're beginner or a little bit more experienced, local Facebook groups is always gonna have people there that are in the area, and it's free to post. It's very low-hanging fruit. J Rule, what's the average booth front price? I don't know. It depends on your area. Average booth front in one state could be different than average booth front in a different state. But I think what bigger question than this question is, it doesn't necessarily matter as much as you think it does. I would pay more booth rent in a shop where I'm going to be more successful than I would pay less booth rent in a shop where I wouldn't be as successful. I wouldn't dictate you picking a shop off of the booth rent that they charge. I would dictate the shop off of the opportunity that lies in that shop. How much could you get out of that shop? Does that shop come with a ceiling? Does that shop allow you to take kind of ownership or be a leader in the shop? Does that shop allow for you to grow and have the career that you want to have? Those are better questions to ask than the average booth rent price, because to be honest, people have made really, really poor decisions in picking shops pretty much off of booth rent. Now, if you're just asking like curiousness, I don't know, bro. I don't know. It's different in every market. Rich Mick asks when it makes sense to get an LLC. Now, first thing I'm gonna say, Rich, is Pi Accounting. Ask Pi Accounting. I'm not an accountant, but this is what I will say. It makes sense to get an LLC when you have something to protect. An LLC is for protection. If you have nothing to protect, if you're not really cutting, if you're not really making any money, what are you protecting? Nothing. But if you have something to protect, then an LLC makes sense. All right, Alec Barbero has the question, what's your number one productivity hack? For me personally, my number one productivity hack is having a to-do list of pending things. Because sometimes you have these little gaps throughout the day and you can fill them with being productive, but you have to know what to do. So I always try to put more and more stuff on my to-do list and constantly knock it off, just so I have like a constant kind of cycle of always doing something, and then I have a deadline, a cutoff time. So for me, it's like I'll wake up in the morning, I'll do some work off my to-do list, I limit my distractions, but I know I have to be done by this time, because by this time I gotta get to work. Deadlines are really, really great. This question is by GC3. Hey Jordy, I'm a big fan of your YouTube channel and you've inspired me in many ways. I want to become a barber, but my parents and family members are telling me not to go into this trade because there's no health insurance and things of that nature. I enjoy cutting hair and talking to people. This is what I want to do, but I just wanted to get your opinion on that subject. I've experienced a little bit of pushback when it came to me being a barber too, so I really related to this. And this is what I think. At the end of the day, whether it goes wrong or whether it goes right, it is your life. Whether you become a very successful barber, it is your life. Whether you actually end up hating cutting hair, it is your life. And since it's your life, I think your opinion should matter more than other people's opinion, because at the end of the day, you are gonna have to live with the consequences of that choice. If you end up being super successful as a barber, your parents don't have to live that day-to-day life. If you end up actually sucking as a barber and you hate every day as a barber, your parents don't have to live that life either way. So think about 30 years in the future. Two paths. You become a barber and one you don't. And let's say you absolutely love it. You are going to be so glad you didn't listen to your parents. You're gonna be so glad that you took your life, your destiny into your own hand. Now, let's say for example, 30 years go down the line and you never actually became a barber and you've always wanted to become a barber. It is going to hurt so bad because you know that you wanted to do it and you listened to somebody else give you direction on your life and they don't have to live with it. You may hate yourself. You may have resentment towards your parents. You might just be so angry because now 30 years down the line and you never did the thing that you really wanted to do. That would mess me up in so many ways, and I would hate living with that what if so much that I might as well just do this barbering thing, and if it goes horrible, at least you don't have to live with that what if. So that's what I would say. And now that I've actually committed to barbering and have seen success in it, you know, my dad is super proud of me. Like, I would not have the success that I have now if it wasn't for my dad, because he turned that, you know, that stone and, you know, became super, super supportive and always allowed me, you know, to kind of pursue this once he saw how serious I was about it. That's what I would say about that question. And that actually ends off the Q&A, guys. I actually really like doing this one. Any more comments, throw them in the bottom of this video and we can do another Q&A. And if you have any questions about any of my answers, throw them in the comments. We'll do another Q&A. And I'll see you guys on the next video. Like, comment, share, and subscribe, and all that stuff for the algorithm. Peace.